isn't measured in promises. It's measured in results. At Rockwell Automation, our 24,000 employees across the globe focus every day on delivering business results for our customers. Because with every result achieved, we realize the promise of expanding human possibilities. That's why we're Rockwell. Our customers make products and deliver solutions that touch all of our lives. And they partner with us to realize measurable, consistent, and profitable business outcomes, delivering the real results they and their customers depend on. The people of Rockwell and our vast production technology portfolio make a real difference in industrial production quality, speed, and efficiency. Making a difference in ramping up adequate supplies of life-saving vaccines. Making a difference by helping deliver vehicles that are affordable, efficient, and safe. Making a difference by engineering sustainability into every system and solution we deliver. Because at Rockwell, we believe better is possible. And the results we deliver add value for our customers every day, in every industry we serve. Our systems connect your company end-to-end with data-fueled insights, improving the decisions that deliver results and expanding human possibilities. Rockwell Automation. Results achieved.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live stream today. I'm Juliana Ackerbloom, Social Media and Content Specialist at Rockwell Automation, and today I'm joined by three smart manufacturing experts: Andrew Stumpf, Director of Business Development; Maria Lowry, Senior Manager at Calypso; Vicki Bruce, Global Capability Manager, Network Cybersecurity Services. Thank you all for joining me to discuss our three-part webinar series that's highlighting our 9th annual State of Smart Manufacturing report. This report is packed with insights from over 1,500 manufacturers across 17 of the world's leading manufacturing countries. Now, as you can imagine, these contributors come from a wide range of industries, and more than half of them are key decision makers in their operations. We've already linked the report for you in this post so you can page through it as we discuss the highlights. As always, we love hearing from our audience, so let us know in the comments what you found most interesting, surprising, or what you're hoping to learn more about. All right, let's jump right in. Andrew, let's start with you. So Gen AI is everywhere right now, so much so that the report says that 83% of manufacturers surveyed expect to be using Gen AI in their operations in 2024. I know that's one of the main topics covered in part 1 of the webinar series, which is now available on demand. But can you share some of the biggest opportunities you're seeing for AI in manufacturing?
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many areas to explore. When we look at these, I typically like to kind of follow those opportunities across the manufacturing life cycle. If we start in the design stage, being able to apply generative AI to design and build that automation system is really picking up steam. Use of copilots and other methods to help generate code, get information during that design stage, helps speed up that design process. If you then go to operations, how do you apply generative AI and AI in general to help guide operators to do their job better, give them better insight to what's happening, the things they need to be aware of to cut through the noise and help them be more productive for that. And on the maintenance side, how do you help a maintenance tech troubleshoot? Understand the root cause of the problem to shrink that mean time to failure, to get back up and running faster within the system. And last but not least, we can't forget about use of AI and machine learning when you get to the running of the system. How do you apply edge analytics to be able to deploy that tech to improve the control of the system? So those are some of the key areas we see for AI within automation and manufacturing.
Right. Wow, those are some great insights on AI's potential. So now let's discuss how the adoption of AI is improving business. Results show that investment in AI delivers bigger business outcomes and has one of the highest ROIs. Clearly, it's core to technology, strategies, and roadmaps. So what kinds of business outcomes are we talking about when it comes to AI?
Mhm. In the report, overwhelming, manufacturers cite that improving quality and improving OEE are the absolute top business outcomes that they desire. And that's actually for multiple years in a row now. Quality remains the top priority of business outcome. And if we specifically look at AI, quality control, process optimization rank as the top use cases to solve in the coming year in production. Being able to apply AI to solve those quality control and productivity problems leads to improved business outcomes of reduced cost, higher quality, and more revenue for their organizations. And we have to keep in mind that that includes edge analytics. This doesn't replace or do away with kind of those top level enterprise data and analytics systems. Those are super important. But we also see in the report bringing in edge, being able to get after high speed, real time, closed loop optimization challenges close to the equipment, close to the process is where manufacturers are seeing real impact to the process to achieve those outcomes. And I know we're going to talk more about this with some of the topics here today, but also we can't forget about how leaders are optimistic about how AI is going to help with cybersecurity, workforce challenges. They're expecting technology to help reduce those risks to drive the outcomes.
Wow, how interesting. Now, thank you, Andy, for chatting. And Maria, let's talk a little bit about sustainability for a few minutes. So, in part two of our State of Smart Manufacturing webinar series, which is also available on demand, the discussion is all about how sustainability is helping manufacturers minimize risk and create value. Can you tell us how sustainability is helping manufacturers with risk mitigation in their businesses?
Sure thing, Juliana. Sustainability enables a couple different areas of risk mitigation. One is market access risk reduction, regulatory risk reduction, customer and shareholder attraction, and finally, some physical risks can get reduced as we are all investing in the sustainability space. I'll pick on a couple of those that I just listed. When it comes to regulatory risk reduction, we have a wave of new regulations coming forward, primarily from the EU, but also being adopted in global markets, in which it's going to be harder to sell products into these markets unless there is a demonstrable commitment and investment in sustainable practices. The biggest recommendation I have to manufacturers who are hoping to reduce this risk to their physical communities, to shareholder attraction, to the regulatory space and market access is to first and foremost get your data house right, be able to report accurately on the carbon emissions for each product that you're selling. And second, be able to identify and target investments in reducing that carbon footprint and demonstrate that to all of your stakeholders.
Yeah, those are some great tips. And the report indicates that 98% of organizations have some form of sustainability or SG policy in place. So with this level of momentum, manufacturers must see significant value from their sustainability initiatives. So what other value are manufacturers seeing in the drive toward more sustainable operations?
Great question. I think some of the easy wins in the sustainability space are win-wins all around. They are areas that have demonstrable cost savings, reduced use of water, reduced use of electricity, reduced use of materials. And as those easy wins get taken care of, then we look to the longer term value that needs to be invested in. Some of those opportunities may have a longer payback period, and they're typically represented in things like large-scale electrification. But as we talked about in the question you posed around risk, this is really a dual play in terms of longer-term value creation and long-term risk reduction for yourself and for the communities and physical spaces in which we all operate. Finally, another area that I think can't be ignored in terms of value creation is in talent attraction and retention. You'll see in the Smart Manufacturing report that talent is a key concern for good reason. Finding and retaining excellent talent is becoming a number one challenge. And the next generation of the workforce is putting employers under heavy scrutiny around community engagement, demonstrating sustainable practices, and providing the type of future that the next generation is looking for.
Those are some great points. And, we can't talk about risk mitigation without touching on cybersecurity, which is a great segue to my first question for you, Vicki. So part 3 of our webinar series is coming up on June 20th, and will highlight key trends in cybersecurity. During this webinar, you'll also be discussing rising cyber threats and their impact. What does the research tell us about how manufacturers are approaching cybersecurity in 2024?
Yes, thanks so much, Juliana. So the research really talks about how there is this focus on cyber, and that focus is really intensifying. So we find that this is partly in part to companies that are starting to embark on their digital transformation, or who really want to advance where they are in their digital transformation. And digital transformation includes, of course, that integration of OT environments along with IT networks. And one of the trends is that OT and manufacturing in general is really targeted twice over. The first is due to just the nature of the environments, where there's a lot of very complex legacy infrastructure. And then the second is that it's very critical, the operations, the manufacturing that's occurring, even in critical environments, critical applications. So you kind of combine those two together, and that makes manufacturers and OT in general a very appealing target to cyber criminals. So the research really confirms what a lot of companies already know. It is important to have a comprehensive cyber strategy. And part of this is because of those key priorities in OT that are unique and maybe a little bit different from the IT side. To name a few, it would be safety, and that would be safety for people, for the environment, for the assets, the equipment. The safety is one of those core things that really comes to play when we talk about cybersecurity and OT. Another one is availability. So in OT environments, it's not so easy just to turn something off. It really is important to have things be highly available, and then also having that continuous access to real-time data. So things are measured in microseconds, if not a shorter period of time, instead of in seconds or in minutes. So that ultimate response that's needed for OT environments really helps drive that importance and that need for a comprehensive cyber strategy. So one things that we see used often is frameworks for a cyber approach, and most commonly is that NIST framework. So NIST has several different segments to it, and it's really used to identify and I'll say all the different steps through protect, detect, respond, recover. And a good place to start is upfront and identify the assets that are out there, the weaknesses that really exist within a system, and then develop that targeted remediation plan to ensure that a proper response and proper precautions are in place.
Wow, I mean, it's clear that cybersecurity is top of mind for many manufacturers, which leads me to my next question for you. So in the report, we see that cybersecurity has broken into the top 5 of external risks for the first time. With Gen AI being top of mind across the industry, how are manufacturers leveraging AI to help combat cyber threats?
Yeah, so let's talk about how cyber has broken into the top 5 for external risks. It's number 3, and it is behind inflation and then also rising energy costs. Both of those have a financial impact, as does cybersecurity. So of course, unplanned downtime has a financial risk, but also different attacks, like a ransomware attack on a company that is unprepared. So I think that the fact that it's kind of broken into the top 5, especially behind 2 financial aspects, really says a lot. Regarding Gen AI can be used in many different ways all across that NIST framework. So an example would be like threat detection, where we could use Gen AI to look at different patterns that are occurring and really be able to predict when an attack is going to happen, even before it fully materializes. But Gen AI can stretch all across NIST. So looking at different identification activities, wanting to know what assets are out there. If there is a site that has a risk strategy associated with it, how can that be applied to another site that's maybe in a different geographical location or has a different product that's being made? So using Gen AI to kind of, I'll say, improve and expand a strategy is important. And it can be used also on the response side. So the other end of NIST, that when there's a response that needs to be really kicked off, that those tailored next steps and action plan, Gen AI can help support that. But really overall, the State of Smart Manufacturing report, I think it highlighted that AI is one of the hottest topics. I think just in general in the world, AI is one of the hottest topics. So we're just kind of starting to scratch the surface on what's even possible. And as I think Gen AI is implemented, there'll be more and more opportunities identified. So given it a chance to run for a little bit, we'll be able to find even more to continue protecting manufacturers from attacks. But it is definitely an interesting space to be in.
Right. Those are some great points. And it's great to see that Gen AI can be useful for all sorts of areas in manufacturing, right? So Andrew, Maria, and Vicki, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing that information with our viewers. And for more on the latest research and to dive deeper into the questions that were discussed today, be sure to check out the entire series of the State of Smart Manufacturing webinars. And thank you all for watching and sharing your thoughts in the comments. See you next time.